That's the question we have to answer today. Is the NFL Hall of Fame doomed to be plagued by mediocre quarterback play from the 2000s and beyond as this new wave of offensive-driven football threatens to dilute the purity of what once used to be the standard of an NFL Hall of Fame quarterback? In the aftermath of Stafford winning his first Super Bowl, everybody is caught up in this debate. Is Stafford a Hall of Famer? Richard Sherman, who I believe to be a future Hall of Fame cornerback, weighs in and saying, yo, the NFL is getting watered down. You know what I'm saying? No MVP, one Pro Bowl, no All-Pro, not even an MVP of the Super Bowl, never considered the best in any year he played. At least Matt Ryan has an MVP. Kind of a backhanded compliment to Matt Ryan. And look, to his credit, I've never been a Matt Ryan guy, but to his credit, he currently sits 8th all-time in NFL passing leaders. Even though I think this all-time passing leader list is going to be eventually the biggest problem that the NFL Hall of Fame is going to face. And I think the NFL Hall of Fame is doomed. What say you? That's what we're going to talk about today, man. I am your host, Godchild, the first of his name. Welcome back to another episode of the What's Packing Sports Show. I love this kind of stuff. I love debate. I love sports talk. And when I see that that Twitter has been set ablaze by this Stafford MVP conversation, I think it's really good. It's really healthy for the league. And I feel like we do need to decide what is a Hall of Fame quarterback, because if you look back through the history of this league, I believe there's like 28 quarterbacks on the Hall of Fame list. I could be wrong. I looked at it, but I can't find the link that I saw earlier, so I don't have it in front of me no more. I think actually it was 25 quarterbacks. And if you look back at that list, a lot of those quarterbacks won championships or Super Bowls. The guys from the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, before they even had the Super Bowl, they won championships, the Otto Grahams, the Y.A. Tittles, okay? But the point that I'm trying to make is there was a period in time where the NFL was so new and there was really nothing else to compare it to. Everybody was just contemporaries. There was no past. It was just the present. And so it was like they had to figure out what was good. They didn't know what was good. Guys throwing for this, throwing for that, running for this, rushing for that. Like, what the heck is good? Once they kind of had maybe, that first wave of guys, once they retired and the second wave of guys retired, I'm not really sure when the NFL Hall of Fame became a thing. Maybe like in the 60s, right? 64 or some shit like that. And a lot of those guys, when you look at their numbers, it's like they weren't really that great. They weren't incredible from the 40s and shit like that. But there were some guys who stood out even amongst their time and they dominated. And then you kind of got to the very first benchmark quarterback defining player, which was Johnny Unitas. Johnny Unitas set the standard for what a modern day quarterback is. And then you have Dan Marino. Right? And Dan Marino was really kind of one of those first guys who redefined the position, but he didn't have any championship success. Because at one point in time, like I said, no one really had numbers. It was just championships. And it was like moments and memories and things like that. But like if you go back, like a guy like Joe Namath, he was terrible. He was terrible. But he had that Super Bowl win, and he had, he had the cachet, he had the sachet, whatever it is. He had the swag, everything. I don't know what the fuck they was calling it back then. Now it's like you're going to have to start choosing because numbers are going to be a given. In 20 freaking years, every quarterback who's starting on a team for 10 years is going to have 40,000 yards passing. It's going to be like, welcome to the league. You know what I'm saying? Here's your 40,000 yards. It's going to be nothing eventually. So we're going to have to start to decide who are we going to be putting up in these ranks, man. I feel like the fans, it's kind of hard to give them a real voice in the say so, like an official voice. We're going to just have kind of like the barbershop voice. But I mean, the writers, and the people who contribute to the NFL and all that kind of stuff, like they're going to be the ones that's deciding this, and they're going to have a tough decision to make because, yeah, it's hard as it's ever been to win Super Bowls in the free agency era. Okay, no team is going to ever be able to get enough of their star players to say, look, let's all sacrifice a certain percentage of our contracts for the better good of the team so we can win rings, so we can have the legacy that we want. Yeah, over the course of my career, that could end up like, you know what, damn, I could have had another $60 million. Which would you rather have, $60 million or 5 rings. And you paid your taxes on it. So let's say maybe 60 million, you got about 35 million left. And you just literally have 35 million in cash. I don't know. When you put it like that, it's like, damn, I don't know. Like, would you rather just have it? But then you're going to have guys like me saying, oh, you wasn't shit because you didn't win a Super Bowl. Or have people, professionals, or, you know, even other Hall of Fame players going to be like, oh, man, well, you didn't win. You didn't do this. So you're not really great. It's like, well, I could have won maybe if I would have sacrificed the money, but I took that 60 million after taxes, $35 million for my lineage, for my kids. So it's like, in the grand scheme of things, man, it is kind of stupid to be arguing about this shit because there's so many factors that plays into it. But ultimately, the question is, does Matthew Stafford belong in the Hall of Fame after winning this Super Bowl? I don't think he would be in. If he retires today, I would not put him in. If he goes on to play 5, 6, 7 more years, he is definitely going to crack 70,000 yards. No question. It's a foregone conclusion. He plays even 5 more years, he's cracking 70,000 most likely. So you're going to be talking about a guy who has 1 Super Bowl. He's going to probably have over 400 yards, touchdowns. So it's like he's going to have those really big numbers, and he's going to be the case study for what will be the new standard of Hall of Fame quarterback play. Is Matthew Stafford going to become the new floor of the Hall of Fame quarterback tier, or is he going to become the ceiling of guys who don't get in the Hall of Fame? I just wanted to open up this discussion to my community. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Is Stafford a future Hall of Famer? Do you think Sherman has a point that the Hall of Fame is just getting watered down? If you have not subscribed already, sack that subscription button for me right now. I greatly appreciate it, man. Until the next show, you know what it is. Go Pack Go. And remember, the Bears still suck.